To the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. For the G's, by the G's, que pasa en el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo. A huevo. Doesn't matter where you from. Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere. Todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad. La calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos el programa, soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. Nothing but love for all you guys out there, all you LA Galaxy fans, and all you La Cuna Galaxians. Thank you once again. Today, we're going to be joined by Alex Busetti, a.k.a. Alex Galaxy Central, co-host of Inside Our Galaxy, to help us react to the LA Galaxy's first half of the season. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts on this humble little pod. My name is Rob Halone. You can find my written work at Extra Talk Time, and you can find me on the interwebs at El Escudero de LA. And since I'm here, you know my co-host is right next to me, el ride or die, one and only G and homie, el yerno perdido. El yerno guapo, el gitano perdido. My bad, y'all. He got me all up in the sauce today, because we saw him in a suit yesterday. One and only Ananda. ¿Cómo estás, papá?
Suited and booted, suit and tie, just like Justin Timberlake. Man, it was a fun weekend, Rob? But we might get to that later in the La Cuna Galaxiana after hours section. But no, man, I am good. As you guys can see, I'm back in my normal digs, no pun intended there, but back in the country. And yeah, man, looking forward to, I was just saying to you backstage right before we started, like, I feel like we've only had a week off, but it feels like it's been forever. And it's like weird getting back in the chair, especially this chair, because I was doing the last couple shows in Spain, of course. But no, man, I'm good. I'm back. I feel refreshed. Hopefully the Galaxy feel refreshed coming into this weekend's match, which, guys, we will have a match preview for you on Thursday, so keep it locked with us for that. But today, like Rob said, we are going to go for the midseason preview. And you know what, man? We've got a guest on. We've missed the news cycle for about a week, right? So we've got a lot of news and announcements.
A lot of stuff to go through.
So if you have nothing else, I'm going to go through my housekeeping now so we get that out of the way. And then we could just jump right into the announcements. What do you think?
Hey, it's like we always tell the wives. You're the boss, man. Hit it.
Awesome. Well, first of all, you guys can always block me or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. And of course, you guys can always find us on all the socials at La Cuna Galaxiana. And of course, just like I flashed up on the screen there, guys and gals, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, go ahead and do that if you like what you're listening to.
What are you waiting for?
I was like, Who sings that? Well, what song is that?
Like, that's from that 50 Shades movie, bruh.
I'm like trying to think of the singer. It's like
that's the one that's like, love me like you do, love me like you do.
That's not Taylor Swift, is it? No. It's someone.
Oh no, I don't think it is.
But anyways, getting back on track. So yeah, you guys can like I flashed on the screen, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you like what you're listening to, go ahead and smash those likes up. Like someone said in the chat, I've got to recognize you. Who was that? That was Crespo. So shout out to you, my sir. I guess honorary VP of likes for the day, the Prime Minister of likes. What else did we call it, Rob? I forgot our other acronyms for that. But anyways,
The prime minister, the
VP,
first officer, the VP,
chief likes officer, all that stuff. All that stuff. So anyway, so go ahead and do that. And of course, as Rob says, always put someone on. And Roberto, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana. A little bit of a different one today since we have no match to react to or anything like that. It is a mid-season review, but like I said, we've missed kind of a week of news, and really in the past 24, 48 hours, there's been a lot of very interesting news. So let's get to that, my good sir.
Yeah, let's get it, man. So first and foremost, let's get some of these announcements going here, and let's tell you what's happening in Galaxylandia. Like Ananda said, we've been off for a week, so every time like we're like, oh no, we can take a show off. All this stuff happens. So, but anyway, first and foremost, happy Pride Month. The Galaxy will be celebrating this weekend. Remember, love is love and footy is for everybody. So go ahead and go out and celebrate Pride Night on June 15th. The Galaxy will be giving away the Robbie Rogers Pride Night bobblehead for the first 500 fans. So go ahead and try to get there early so you can get that bobblehead. I missed out on the Jalen bobblehead. I'm bummed out. Maybe I can get the Robbie Rogers Pride bobble night. I don't know. You know me, Ananda. I'm usually not like among the first to get places, so I don't know if I'll be able to grab this one. But anyway, let's keep it going. So, speaking of footy for being for all, catch the latest episode of Our Galaxy, episode 18. The LA Galaxy Special Olympics Unified Team travel to Chicago. We did give them a shout out on one of our previous pods and let you guys know that was happening. They did make it out there, and just like the Galaxy they faced pretty crummy weather. I do believe the second half of that match was called off, but it's still amazing that they went out there and took it to Chicago, and yeah, man, I'm one of the best episodes I think of Our Galaxy. Catch Our Galaxy episode 18, guys. Happy birthday to Dave Sarkan. His birthday was on my dad's birthday, June 7th. The former Galaxy assistant and head coach was the assistant to Bruce Arena from 2008 to 2016. He won 3 MLS Cups, part of Galaxy history, big part. 2011, 2012, and 2014 was there for the fun ride where the Galaxy were just, it was you went to the in those days the Home Depot Center, and you knew you were losing, man. He was the coach of the year in 2003 with the Chicago Fire, and he was just recently with Robbie Keane at Maccabi Tel Aviv, who just won the Israeli title. I don't know if you knew this, Ananda, but Keane quit the other day. So it'll be interesting to see where he's going to go, if Dave Sarkan's going to stick with them. But regardless, good luck to them both, King Kino and Dave Sarkan. Happy birthday, Dave. Happy birthday to friend of the show and Lacuna Matata teammate, Erick, the Portuguese Hammer Vieira. This is, probably one of my candidates for non-player LA Galaxy, Mount Rushmore, man. Just like the amount of good service that the Portuguese Hammer brings to us, man. Just like videos and just hot takes on Twitter. Hammer, I love you, man. Hope you're having a good time wherever you're at.
He's to me the meme king, man. Like, his images are so on point. So shout out Hammer, man, and a big happy birthday to you, and good luck to Portugal in the Euros this summer.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna have to ask him how he feels about CR7 being included in the selección there. Since we're on birthdays, happy birthday to the best mascot in soccer, Cosmo, the best alien out there. Man, he brings my mom a lot of joy, and that brings me joy. So I want to give you your flowers, Cosmo. Happy birthday to you. 21 years old. Man, I don't know if, like, in your home world, you guys can drink before you're 21, but I hope you had a drink for your birthday, Cosmo. Congratulations. And then congratulations for being recognized by the LA City Council. Cosmo, the Galaxy, and the LA Galaxy Foundation and the Eastside Riders were recently honored by the city of Los Angeles for their many, many years of community service. We've told you guys on this pod a bunch of times when the Galaxy is blowing it, whether it's on the field or off. We tell you about it. When they're killing it, we tell you about it. And the Galaxy go out of their way to help their community, and this is one of these things that we can always tip our hat on and be proud of. Congratulations to everybody involved, and again, congratulations to Cosmo. Wanted to shout out a Galaxy Sphere Twitter user, Becca J, because she put out a Galaxy yearbook, which was really, really cool. It had, a class clown, stuff like this, and I just want to encourage you guys to go check out her socials on Twitter and check out the full Galaxy yearbook, so you guys can go ahead and check out who she thinks some of the notable Galaxy players are. I don't want to spoil the fun for you, but go ahead and check her out on Twitter, Becca J. That's BECAHJAY. Go ahead and check out the Galaxy yearbook, guys. And then you have voted. All y'all out there have voted Ricky Puig, the Galaxy May Player of the Month, with 3 goals and 3 assists. Ricky Puig, the Prince who was promised, aka the blonde ambition. What are we calling him now, Ananda?
What did I say last time? Like young Johnny Bravo instead of right with that blonde hair. Yeah.
Oh, they're calling him Ricky Super Saiyan. So he did a sing this month, and he got himself, I think, in the conversation for at least conversation. I'm not saying he's gonna run away with it, but for MVP here, he's been playing pretty well. There's some people, and Ananda, your wife included, who would say that he probably should be playing better. I don't know about that. Maybe we'll talk to Alex about that and see how he feels. But anyway, you voted him, Galaxy fans, as the May Player of the Month, and it seems like he's getting some love all across MLS. He was recently voted, or not voted. This is by sales, top 5 in jersey sales for MLS. He comes in at number 5. The rest of the top 5 is Leo Messi, Luisito Suarez, Lucho Acosta, and Cucho Hernandez. But Ricky Puig takes number 5. And this is an all Spanish speaking top 5 right here. I don't know if you noticed this one, Ananda. And Inter Miami has 5 players in the top 20. Ricky is the lone Galaxy player, and congratulations to him. Do you have a Ricky kit, man?
Do I have a Ricky kit? Is that what you
said?
Yeah. I mean, can't you see? Hold on. Let's see if I'm gonna put that.
Oh no, I meant the white. I meant the white one.
Well, what's funny is I really like that kit and I want to wear it. So I'm actually thinking if I can get another white one and have him sign that one, because obviously the signature will show up better on a white jersey. Have that one displayed, and then so I can wear that one, because I love that green one, and I'm like, man, I really want to wear it. I think that's one of my favorite ones in the past the past few years, I think, other than obviously the retro kit, the striped one, the black and green one.
I support you getting it, man. I'm fully behind you. Go ahead and do it. And then when I'm trying to pick up some records, you go ahead and be fully behind me, and we'll have each other's back like that. It'll be good. So guys, Kendrick Lamar, he was at the Digs, y'all. I hope somebody got him a Galaxy jersey, but he was at the Digs on June 7th. And this isn't strictly Galaxy news, but it's pretty fresh because he was where the Galaxy play. So he was at the tennis courts just off the main field there. He was a surprise guest commencement speaker for Compton College. And what's really awesome about this cat is he greeted nearly every graduate there, stayed around, signed autographs, took pictures. He said, "I still believe in Compton. Compton's always been the future for me. Duela que le duela. Too bad if it hurts, y'all, but Compton is LA, Carson is LA. So it just is what it is. Duela que le duela, right?" on this next one, I did say that it was the last call for it, but apparently I looked at the day wrong because Erick Zavaleta throwing out the first pitch at Angel Stadium is actually happening on June 30th. I don't know why I told you last call. It hasn't happened yet. That'll be going down on June 30th. Hit up after for tickets, guys. You get an official Angels and Salvadorian Heritage jersey, access to the Heritage Village with DJs and cumbia bands, and of course, an opportunity to eat the delicious pupusas from AFTRA. And then even if you're not going, support AFTRA. Go ahead and hit them up and see where you can help out, y'all. An LA Galaxy Academy update. You know what? And while we're on the subject, and I'm going to go off script. I know you're probably shaking your head at me now, but this one was actually put out by the Quasar Weekly, which is apparently a new in-house Galaxy publication that was announced last week by Director of Comms Kevin Acevedo. So it'll be awesome to see. And I think this is the first one of its kind across MLS. It'll be awesome to see what kind of content they're going to put out. And, this is the kind of content that they're putting out. They came out with the update that the LA Galaxy Academy U14s had finished the season with an unbeaten record, 28-0-2. They scored a massive 124 goals for. They only received 23 goals against. That's an 101 plus goal difference, Ananda. So these lads, they did their thing. They were invincibles, man. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to everybody involved with the Quasar Weekly. ACB is going on a bus trip, y'all. They're going to San Jose. Go ahead and hit them up for your chance to hang out and make some memories all weekend with ACB as they go up to San Jose to see the Galaxy take on the San Jose Earthquakes at Sanford Stadium. That bus leaves on the 29th. It comes back on the 30th. And of course, when you hit them up and you get a ticket through them, that includes the bus ride and the game ticket. So go ahead and check out their socials for more information, as well as their May fundraiser, their June fundraiser, fresh off their May fundraiser, which was a success. They're back at it. They're collecting items to help out the Chicas Rockers of Southeast LA, or CRSELA for short. They are an org committed to working with at-risk trans youth in Southeast LA and have an annual camp. Go ahead and hit up their socials to go ahead and find out what you can get for the Amazon wish list there. And then if you are so inclined, go by and check out Comets SC at their Juneteenth event on Saturday, June 15th at 3:30 p.m. They'll be having a barbecue tailgate. You'll have music, sounds provided by Temo. You'll have catered barbecue by My Father's Barbecue, and good baked goods out there. So go ahead and check them out. They're going to be in Lot 13. Shout out to Matt and Comets, and shout out to G's Run LA. They're going to be doing their 5K on July 6th. They are about half full, Ananda. I had been telling you that this is capped at 96 participants. They're about half full. Participants will get a finisher's ribbon, a drink ticket, and a mug. And, the satisfaction of saying that they participated in the very first G's Run LA 5K. And you know what? I really wanted to start training up for this, but I think this one's going to pass me by. So I think we're going to go ahead and start training for the second one. All right, Ananda, is it a deal?
It's a deal. Let's do it. You need to get back into soccer shape too.
Yeah, man. We got to get there. All right. Well, bringing you VCFC update. Their last match was away to Portland Timbers 2. It was a tie 3-3 in regulation off a 95th minute injury time equalizer by Ruben Ramos. That one had goals by Isaiah Parente, Aaron Bibu, and of course Ramos. That took it to penalties, where VCFC won 3-2 to go ahead and take this match and get 2 points from this one. Their next match is on the road again against Colorado Rapids 2. That will be going down on Sunday, June 16th at 7 p.m. Guys, the long-awaited and highly anticipated El Tráfico at the Rose Bowl, I think the Galaxy is calling it the rivalry at the Rose, is only 25 days away. That'll be happening on July 4th, of course, at 7:30 p.m. Last year was a Galaxy victory, and It was, as the kids say, it was vibes, man. It was a great time. It was amazing seeing all the Galaxy supporters and the huge tifo that was unfurled, and of course the Galaxy getting 3 points from that one. And I don't know if you remember, but I told you that was the happiest I had seen Greg in a long time after that victory.
That was honestly one of my favorite pods that we did last year too. That was with shout out Bruce Grainy Mayo. That was with Grainy Mayo, and we had an amazing. I mean, such a blast. And of course, Bruce was out there covering the team in terms of photos and all that stuff. You were up in the press box. I was in the thick of it. So what a great pod, and one of the few great days that we had last season.
Yeah, well, we're going to have some more this year. Just you wait, but we're going to get to that. LA Galaxy Beach cleanup happening at Cabrillo Beach on June 22nd for World Ocean Month from 3 to 5 p.m. If you go out to that, you can go ahead and stay for a watch party afterwards at San Pedro Brewing Company, where the Galaxy will be taking on RSL away. That's going to be a match, y'all. So go ahead and check out that LA Galaxy Beach cleanup. And good luck to Jalen Neal, who will suit up for the U.S. men's national team U23s against Japan in their last match before the Olympic. This is the last prep match, guys, happening at the time of this recording tomorrow, June 11th at 5 p.m., happening in Kansas City. Hopefully we get to see Jalen get some game time there. He deserves it. I mean, he was one of the reasons that this team even qualified, so he was instrumental. Hopefully he gets some time. Good luck to him. Good luck to the U.S. men's national team. And, it's almost time for Copa America, Ananda. And so, just like the U.S. men's national team is getting ready for the Olympics, the senior national team is getting ready for Copa America. And so are a bunch of other selecciones and national teams. Mexico started their prep in disastrous fashion. They lost 4-0 to Uruguay in a game that set off alarm bells for CONCACAF purists. However, they did a lot better against Brazil. They did end up losing 3-2 to an Erick injury time header, but they put up a much better game than they did against Uruguay. Those alarm bells for CONCACAF lovers got even worse when Canada lost 4-0 in Jesse March's first match in charge of Canada. That one was, I'm surprised we didn't see like more commentary about how, see, this is the coach that, you guys wanted to take charge of the U.S. men's national team. But you know what? He was going through it for sure, because this was his first match in charge. He pretty much got everything that he wanted to take the job, and it's first match 4-0. However, Jesse March comes out in the second game and has his Canada team go toe to toe with the World Cup finalist France, and they pulled off a 0-0 tie in Bordeaux. So that means the three biggest teams in the Confederation fell and were well beaten, because the U.S. men's national team was well beaten by Colombia 5-1 in the U.S.'s first tune-up for Copa America. The U.S. just simply could not live with the transition. Christian Pulisic said, it just felt like they were waiting for us to make a mistake and then kill us in transition. That's just what happened over and over again. We were nowhere near the level we need to play if we want to win games coming into Copa America. This one actually was kind of close until the 77th minute. It was 2-1. Then the U.S. broke down, gave up 3 in the last, 13 plus of this game. Tim Wett had the U.S.'s only goal. Greg Berhalter, who is immediately under fire once again, he had this to say: the reason why I'm so disappointed is because guys just didn't do their job. Well, the U.S. goes from that defeat 5-1 to playing a perennial powerhouse in world football, which is Brazil. That game's happening on Wednesday, June 12th at 4 p.m. Good luck to them, and good luck to Greg Berhalter. Like I said, he's already kind of on the hot seat. The U.S. are now 5-7-6 against teams ranked in the top 20 of the FIFA World Rankings, and then 4 of those wins, Ananda, come against Mexico. So, when 4 or 5 victories come against Mexico and you haven't really beaten anyone else, it's not a good look. Their only win under Berhalter against a top 20 team, excluding Mexico, is Iran, which gives Greg Berhalter, former G, by the way, a 7.1 win percentage in those matches. Part of the highlights of Berhalter's record are being eliminated by Panama in the Gold Cup semis, losing to Trinidad and Tobago, and needing a stoppage time equalizer and extra time to beat Jamaica at home. So that's begs the question, Ananda. Are you at all worried about CONCACAF here in Copa America? Are they going to get blown out, or do you think these are just what they are, friendly matches and practice matches?
Well, I guess for the sake of the image of CONCACAF, I hope it was just a friendly. I hope it was just a mirage. But we've seen CONCACAF teams struggle. I mean, even in the last World Cup, if you compare them to sort of the larger state, the larger federations, right, the larger teams, this isn't a good look. And we'll see. I mean, I think all these teams have their own problems and issues. Mexico's national team issues have been well documented over the past couple of years. The U.S., really getting bounced in the first knockout stage against the Netherlands in that last World Cup, and ever since then it hasn't been great either. So I think all these teams are having issues, and I think they're going to struggle in this Copa America. There's some strong South American teams out there, you got the Brazils and Argentina as just powerhouses. So I think this struggle trend is going to continue, man.
So if the U.S. fails to advance past the first round, is his job in jeopardy?
I thought it was, to be honest, I thought it was in jeopardy before, but yeah, for sure it's going to be in jeopardy. 100%.
I don't know, chat. Let us know what you think. If the U.S. fails to advance out of their group in the Copa America, is Greg Berhalter on the hot seat? Keep in mind, he's already getting some fire right now, and he's getting that seat warm. So go ahead and let us know what you think there in chat. Is Greg Berhalter on the hot seat if the U.S. miss out on the next round or on the second round of the Copa America? Let us know. And now, without further ado, Ananda, are we ready to just
we are still waiting for Alex here to come on, so let's give him a couple minutes. He just popped in backstage, but let's give him like 30 seconds, Rob, and let's see if what chat's got to say here. 1 second. So Gary says 100% Berhalter's out if they don't make the semis, Rob. And XPH says fuera y fuera if USA doesn't have a good Copa America performance. Yeah, man, totally. So I think it's pretty clear for sure.
It sucks, man, because I mean, you want to see the U.S. do well, and this is a pivotal time. I mean, this is really, part of the commentary from people is, this is really the man you want in charge of the U.S. national team during its most pivotal time in its history. I mean, you have the Copa America, you have the Club World Cup, you have the World Cup. I mean, you have that all happening with the next couple years. So, I've said it a couple times. I mean, you went through a long process just to come on back and bring them back. I mean, you had, like I mentioned, you had guys like Jesse Marsh in the running. You had guys even that were bandied about like Jose Mourinho, and then you just go ahead and bring Greg Berhalter back. But anyway, everyone in chat so far is letting us know that they're not Berhalter fans there, and you know what, I think it's no secret that I myself would probably be happier seeing the U.S. Coached by another team, but that's not my call to make. But what is my call to make is now bringing to you. Are you ready, Ananda?
Yeah,
I'm about to do it. I'm about to do it. Yes. Okay.
Go for it, man. He's ready. He's backstage.
All right,
He's ready. Time to go.
All right. So the one, the only Alex Busetti, aka LA Galaxy Central and co-host of Inside Our Galaxy. How you doing, bro? Oh, look at that jacket, looking fly. Right. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm very, grateful to be on here. You guys seem like a great podcast. Very impressive for what I've seen so far. And yeah, I got the jacket on here. It's been great. I've been enjoying the break for sure. And yeah, definitely ready to get back into it once we get back into things.
Well, we are impressed with that jacket, my man. I'll tell you that.
It's nice for sure.
How bad were the withdrawals for not having anything Galaxy related, at least game wise, for the past week?
Oh, it was fine. I mean, I was watching the NBA finals, the Stanley Cup finals. You got international duty, which I guess was kind of rough for me. I'm an American and an Italian fan, and yeah, both of them didn't really do that great. Italy's games were a lot closer, but they didn't really play that well in America. Yeah, I mean, that's better off not being talked about. But yeah, I've been enjoying the break for sure. It's been nice just to take a week to chill out.
Ananda and I were saying we feel like we took a week off and all these things happened, and now we came back and we're so behind the curve. But that's why we're here today. We're going to go ahead and get caught up, get everybody out there caught up. But before we get into, Galaxydom, let's talk about you. Háblame de ti. I want to know how, the pod got started. And then, one of my questions that I ask everybody is, when did you fall in love with the LA Galaxy?
Yeah, I'll go with the podcast first. So I first created my page in 2020 because over the COVID pandemic, obviously I was at home a lot. I was very bored, definitely. Like I wanted something to do. And then I joined like a lot of like kind of FIFA sim leagues a little bit where I used the LA Galaxy because they were my favorite team at the time. But then once those sim leagues ended, I just decided to create an LA Galaxy page. And obviously it's been very successful so far. Over 2,000 followers. I've been doing this for 5 seasons. I love the team. I still enjoy doing this. I'm very happy. This is the first time I get to work with another Galaxy podcast. That's something I've been looking to do a while. I've been looking to add on to my own channel too with Erick. And yeah, me and Erick did the podcast together because in 2020, Erick was one of my first DMs, one of my first followers. Me and him saw eye to eye on a lot of things. I think we both shared a lot in common. We were both very passionate about the team. I think we both like understand the game well. We like to use logic. So, hey, we'd work really well together. And yeah, we've been doing this the last couple of seasons. Last year, we started off on video. We're still looking to grow to try to get 100 subscribers. Hopefully we'll get there. It's always about growing, right? You always want to try to get better. I always say that about when you're playing, when you're trying to do something, there's always room to improve. But yeah, I just love the team. And, you make the right connections, you get the right DMs, you start something at the right time, really anything can happen. And yeah, I mean, it's been a great success so far and I'm very happy to be doing it.
Oh man. Well, big love to you, man. We're really happy to be, the first ones to be able to hook up with you guys. I'm sending you virtual hugs. That's awesome. To Erick as well. Big shout out. He actually dropped a comment in there. He says the Italian Stallion is that your name on the street right there, man?
I've not heard of that one, but I'll take it though.
And then we also.
And by the way, show some love to these guys. They're trying to grow their channel, just like Gary Cambrone. Go ahead and make sure you subscribe to the Inside Our Galaxy podcast. You know how we are here, man. Rob, we always show love to the community and the people.
Absolutely,
show love to these guys and give them the sub.
Alex, let them know, man, where they can find you. Go ahead and plug right now, man.
Yeah, I usually use Instagram on LA Galaxy Central. I don't really have a Twitter account. I just use that for news. So I'm mostly an Instagram account on LA Galaxy Central.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. You guys know where to find them. And again, we are super happy to be able to collab with you guys. Another thing we do for all our guests, for the guests that are Galaxy fans anyway, is do a little something called word association, in which, I throw a Galaxy-related word or phrase at you, and you tell me the first thing that pops into your head. You get one hard pass. Like you can, if you're like, oh, my take on this might be too spicy, I don't want to answer this one, the ops will come at me, you can go ahead and just say like, nah, man, I'm not answering that one. But you have only one. All right, so here we go. Number one is going to be an easy one. Cosmo.
All right, so can you explain this to me a little bit? So what do I have to say after exactly?
You just say
a word or phrase. Yeah, a word or phrase. That first thing that pops in your head, like gut reaction.
I think so. Yeah, I think I got it. All right, for sure.
Yeah. So the first one is Cosmo, the birthday boy, Cosmo.
Enthusiastic.
Yeah, he definitely is. I know some people don't like it when he bangs across the boards at the digs, but I like it. I take it as a hey, wake up team, and sometimes it's needed, right? So your second phrase is the May Player of the Month as voted by Galaxy fans, Ricky Pooch.
Elite.
Elite. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would.
and
I would
the
go ahead.
stats prove it. The stats prove it. 100% agree.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
definitely. Your third, Dejan Joveljic.
Responsive.
Responsive. Okay. We'll go back to that one. Because we'll talk about Dejan a little bit later. And then you'll have his partner in the strike core, Miguel Berry.
Useless.
Hot
We'll,
take?
we'll
I don't
talk
think
about that one too.
Yeah, okay. And then you have Will Kuntz.
Cooking.
Yes, the chef. He done miracles on us for damn sure. You have a guy we'll talk about here in a couple moments, Robert Lewandowski.
Clinical.
And then you have the man who might coach him, Greg Vanny.
Mediocre.
Ooh.
We will definitely get back to that one.
All right, cool. Yes. All right, and then you have LAFC, the Cross City rival.
Shit.
It's a family show. I can't repeat that, but you guys
All right,
heard
then.
it here.
Not good.
You can say it, I can't say it. And then my wife will get mad at me. I'm not supposed to curse and stuff like that. So anyway, you have another guy that might be in the blue, white, and gold soon, Marco Reus.
Respected.
Yeah,
yeah.
I would say so. Then you have the man who might leave to make way for him, Johnny Perez.
Potential.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Yep. He's been one of my favorite Galaxy players since I saw him in G2, and I knew they were going to bring him up and do something with him. But as it is, he might be on his way out. But let's go ahead and talk about the ones that we do know. Markus Ferkranus, that one was kind of bandied about for a little bit, and it finally came to pass. The 21-year-old was signed officially by Brisbane Roar in Australia's A-League. He leaves after making 55 appearances across 6 seasons with LA Galaxy 2, aka VCFC. During 2024, he recorded 1 assist and 8 appearances. And Will Kuntz had this to say about the lad. In the 7 years since he joined the LA Galaxy Academy, Mark proved himself to be an exemplary player and young man. Alex, how did you feel about this one? Did you feel like they pulled the trigger too soon, or he wasn't seeing time and so better to deal him and let him develop?
No, I think it's a good move. It's top flight football in Australia. I think it's a growing league too. I think it's a good step for him coming out of MLS Next Pro. Unfortunately, with the Galaxy, I think his path was going to be a little bit difficult with guys like Jalen Neo just being ahead of him for development. Will Kuntz signed Garces too, which I guess so far hasn't been a great signing since we haven't even seen him on the field for the Galaxy first team yet. But you have him as a young defender. Obviously, you got some of the veterans in there. And yeah, it just seemed like his, pathway to the first team wasn't as clear. So if he has the opportunity to go play division, top flight football, I think that's a really good step for him. And I'm very happy he's making that jump. And I wish him nothing but the best.
Ananda, how did you feel about this one? Are you sad that we didn't get to see the Ferkranus-Neal partnership?
I think from a sentimental point, yes. But other than that, me not being sentimental and rational, I think I agree with Alex in that this is the right move. I think this is the best move for both parties. This is the right move for the Galaxy, and the fact that we need to move on some of these younger players. Historically, we have not been a good selling club, Rob, but now it looks like we are starting to get some movement on that point. So that's a huge shout out to the front office. But I think it's also a good move for Ferkranus. As Alex said, he needs some playing time. He needs to develop his career. This was a do or die situation or a now or never situation, and I think he's making the right move. So all the best to Markus. And yeah, of course, unfortunately we did not get to see that partnership, but all the best to Markus in Australia.
Yeah, I'm sad, sentimental. You know me, and I'm the hopeless romantic, always sentimental, and so I'm sad that I don't get to see that Neo Ferkranus partnership. But I do wish him the best. You're right, the Galaxy have historically not been a good selling club and have allowed a lot of players to walk or get taken for free. So it's good to see that they're getting something for these younger players. And then so after the Ferkranus domino fell, there were rumors happening of Daniel Aguirre to Chivas, and the rumors picked up really, really hot when we finally started seeing pictures of Daniel Aguirre actually in Chivas gear. And then our good friend of the pod, El Profe Alex Ruiz, discovered that he was listed as part of their preseason roster, which meant that he had been training with Chivas already. But yet, Galaxy fans, we did not have an official announcement yet until just recently. I believe it was yesterday, where the Galaxy reported that they had finally completed that transfer of the 24-year-old. He played for the Galaxy 51 times, 2 goals and 4 assists in 4 seasons. Officially, the fee is undisclosed, 250 to 300K is what's being reported by Tommy Bogert. But this is a good story here, guys, because as you guys know, he went from being a trialist to playing with the Galaxy, and now Chivas, who is probably, if not the biggest team in Mexico, one of the biggest teams in Mexico. So, with Daniel, Alex, I'm going to ask you something a little bit different. I mean, with Markus, he wasn't getting playing time. Aguirre kind of seemed like one of Greg's go-to guys, or one of his depth pieces at the very least after Cerrillo. What's the thinking here? Are you think they're trying to make cap space and get some paper in exchange? I mean, I know he was out of contract at the end of the year. So what do you think happened here?
No, I don't think it's cap space because he wasn't really making much money in the first place. And some people said like it was making room for Royce, which I just can't believe because we had a max TAM spot already. So Royce was going to come either way. I think this is more of a player's decision to move on. He's going to a really big club in Mexico. That's obviously a big deal for him. I think he was a homegrown with the Galaxy too, if I'm not mistaken. He played a lot of time on the second team. It's a really good jump for him. When I first saw the transfer, I thought it was just really odd for both of sides, really. I thought it was good for the player, but for the Galaxy, it didn't really make much sense to get rid of one of your cheaper depth pieces who is like an asset for you. And for Chivas, I don't really know how he fits there, if he's going to be good in Liga MX. I know Chivas have been in the MLS market for some MLS players, like they got Chicharito, obviously, as a free agent when his contract with the Galaxy ran out, and they got Cade Cowell from San Jose. But I don't know, like for Aguirre, it's kind of weird because like he's not really either of those. He hasn't really proven himself in MLS that much. Yes, he's shown he can be like a decent MLS substitute, but in terms of like actual, like playing well in MLS and becoming a full-time player, I don't see how, Chivas really saw him and said like, yeah, he can make that jump. But hey, for Aguirre, the offer comes, the window is short. You really got to take on it. And I don't blame him for taking that at all. Obviously, if he wants to move on, it makes sense for the Galaxy to try to get something back. His contract's up after the season is over. So yeah, it makes sense for both sides, but I think for the clubs, I think it's kind of a weird fit, but I wish best of luck to Aguirre. Obviously, it's a good challenge for him, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does there for sure.
Nanda, kind of piggybacking off of that, were you kind of surprised that they were dealing Aguirre, being that, it doesn't really make sense with him being one of the cheaper depth pieces for Greg Vanney and being a dependable one at that?
Yeah, I think it's yes and no. I think it does make sense, and the good point that Alex brought up, which is it is the last year of his contract, so it's again a now or never situation. I think it was pretty clear though, Rob. I would say that the first midfielder off the bench has been Cerrillo this year, and he's really stepped up to take that mantle. And it's happened really ever since last year. I mean, there was a reason why we spent money on Cerrillo, and that was a Greg Vanney want, right, on his wish list. Other than that, though, Aguirre's really been a bit part player, and Vanney's really used a 4-man rotation in that midfield. And I think that's kind of what he's sticking to. And unfortunately, Daniel has not gotten a lot of playing time. I do remember his great moment last year. I think it was that 1-1. He scored that game-tying goal away from home last year. And that was probably his brightest spot, probably through his whole Galaxy career, because other than that, he hasn't really had a chance. So again, back to the Ferkranus situation, I think it's a good move for him personally just to get out. And despite what the fit may be in Chivas, I mean, it's a good team. It's a big team. It's a good league for him to develop and grow. And so best of luck to him for sure.
Chat, Christopher Pineda brings something up. Leagues Cup depth. They want to beat the Galaxy. They're getting rid of Aguirre. They got rid of Ferkranus, who admittedly wasn't seeing a lot of time with the first team. But what does it say for the preparation for the Leagues Cup, Alex? Do you think they're going to be a little bit short on bodies when it comes time to approach that tournament?
I mean, yeah, probably they got rid of a lot of players, and I think the summer window opens up around the same time that tournament starts. So even if we made a couple signings, we probably wouldn't be able to get them into the team by the time that tournament started. And yeah, I don't know for Leagues Cup. I'm honestly, I got to be honest, I'm not really worried about that or focused on that. I'm worried about trying to do well in the regular season and get in a good spot for the playoffs. If we don't win Leagues Cup or don't really go that far, it's like, I mean, whatever. A lot of people don't even like that anyways because it took away from the Open Cup. So for Leagues Cup, it's going to be a good experience, a good test. Hopefully we can at least get out of the group this time so we don't have to sit home for 3 weeks just watching the whole tournament. It'd be good to try to advance, but in terms of us actually trying to win it, I just don't think like we have the squad for that at the moment. And I don't think we should be going into that thinking like, we absolutely should be trying to go all in. I think, the regular season this year is a much bigger focus for us.
I mean, I would agree with that, but it's like there's a piece of me that this team needs to win. Like this team needs to win something, right? So like there's that little piece of me, but I think
they need to be respectable at the tournament.
I think holistically, though, I do agree with both of you. But there is that little piece of me that this team, Greg Vanney, more than anyone, needs to win, right? So, but that's another conversation that we might get to later.
Yes, well, absolutely. This team needs a damn trophy for damn sure. Whether it's Leagues Cup or US Open Cup or MLS Cup, right. They need one. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Alex. I mean, like they shouldn't put all their eggs in that basket. They shouldn't be like, we need to go hard for the Leagues Cup, but they do need to be more respectable than they were last year, because then we don't have that 3-week layoff where we're just kind of, hey, it's all these other teams are playing and the Galaxy are just at home doing nothing. Well, guys, you know when they say that things happen in threes. So Markus Ferkranus, Daniel Aguirre, and now the other big rumor that's out there right now, and we said that we would talk about him, Johnny Perez, the 21-year-old Galaxy 2, Galaxy-made midfielder. Rumors out of Mexico say that he's being lined up as a reinforcement for Toluca or Atlético San Luis, who admittedly has kind of like the inside track on him. But reports say that Toluca is the only team that's actually engaging in negotiations right now. He's also being looked at by Atlas and America, which is kind of interesting because he could, potentially be having that Los Santos link up again. I'm sure Jonah Dos Santos knows Johnny Perez very well. And apparently, Fernando Gago, who is Chivas coach, has requested Johnny Perez personally as a new signing for Chivas. And like you said, Alex, they've been looking at players from MLS. They got Chicha, they got Kate Cowell, they got Daniel Aguirre, and could Johnny Perez be the next one? He, of course, is Mexican-American. He's represented Mexico at youth level. Last week, he told me he'd be open to representing the U.S. if they called him, but the U.S. has not done so. So, guys, this is the third LA Galaxy youngster that is potentially on his way out. Alex, Johnny isn't done yet. That's pretty much all we know on this one so far. But which of these three departures would hurt the team the most? Is it Johnny or is it one of the other two?
Probably Perez, honestly. I think he's a really good young player. I rate him a lot. I think even right now, he's a good MLS level substitute for sure. Just a player I really like in general. He brings really good energy off the bench. He brings something different to the game, which I think is really good. It would definitely hurt the Galaxy more if, he did leave. Obviously, him going to Club America would be very random. I was just thinking about that. I don't think that would make a lot of sense. But if he did get an offer to Liga MX, maybe he would take it. It depends on the project, how the coach would use him, if you'd get a bump in playing time. But yeah, I think it would have to be one of those smaller Liga MX clubs like Toluca. I think that would be a more realistic move for him. But yeah, I think Perez leaving would just be a really big hit for sure. And just definitely a guy I would like to see on the team going forward. But Greg Vanney hasn't really played him. So if he wants out at a certain point, you can't really blame him.
Yeah, I know for a player his age right now, he's got to be chomping at the bit to get minutes and just get out there and show what he can do. Ananda, do you agree? Is this the most impactful departure should it come to pass?
Yeah, I agree. I think I go back to Alex's one word or word association, potential. Like he's the one that has the most of it, I think, amongst all the attackers. And, I'm going to leave it at that. But Rob, you've been asking all the questions today. So I'm going to ask you, do you agree with us
Oh,
saying that Johnny Perez is the most impactful?
yeah, man. Look, short answer, yes. I've said it a million times on this pod. I fell in love with that cat when first time I saw him play for G2. Just he's good on the ball. He goes at players. He has confidence. He's fearless. He adds something to this team that the team doesn't have. He goes at players very directly, and Gabby Pecky kind of goes at players as well, but since he's kind of limited by his 2-foot situation, he doesn't do it as well as Johnny. I think you're getting something from Johnny Perez that you're not getting from any other Galaxy player. So I think it'll be a big miss. But we all know, everyone that's sitting here knows that he's not getting the minutes, whether they're deserved or not. Only the people that see him train in and day out can answer that. But considering he's not getting minutes and Royce is incoming, and then Johnny would probably be even further behind in the pecking order. If it were you, Alex, and you had the opportunity, would you go?
Depends on the offer, depends on the project. I'd have to speak with the coach for sure. I mean, I'd probably stay the season, honestly. I'd probably stay the rest of the season. I had a full preseason here. I know my teammates well. I'd feel comfortable. Obviously, he's a homegrown product. I would probably stay, but if it's the right time for him to move on, he's the one who has to make that decision.
¿Y tú, Anandita Kirana, qué piensas?
Yeah, I would see if Greg gives me more playing time for the rest of the year, right? And if he's showing me that he's not giving me faith to be another first attacker off the bench, essentially, then yeah, I agree with Alex and you. I would move on. Again, this is you're speaking as if I'm the player and I'm going to be egoistic, right? I'm going to look for myself more so than any other. I know he's homegrown. I know he's from the area, but at the end of the day, it's your career, and you got to put that on a pedestal. You got to put that on a pedestal first.
Yeah, he's young, he's talented, he's probably undoubtedly hungry. If it were me and I was him and I was the player, I'd probably try to take off and get some playing time as well, especially because, if the Galaxy do land Royce, then you're going to have one more person ahead of you in the pecking order. And if the Galaxy get Royce, then the next domino to fall, at least it's rumored anyway, guys, is a man by the name of Robert Lewandowski, the former Dortmund, Bayern, and current Barcelona striker, is the latest Galaxy transfer rumor. Apparently, him and Marco Reus are really good friends, even best friends, people say. On Reus's last game with Dortmund, Lewandowski had this to say to him: "Thank you for your amazing work, your commitment, and your passion. You all showed what it means to be passionate about something, and I will admire you forever. Thank you with all my heart for all the amazing moments we had together. Thank you for your support. And again, thank you for every moment I got to enjoy with you. All the best, legend." So, rumor is that Royce and Robert Lewandowski will reunite at the LA Galaxy. I don't know how the math on this one works, considering Lewandowski makes about 16 million a season for Barcelona, but Will Kuntz, he done miracles on me before, so who knows what he has up his sleeve on this one. But this one kind of flies against the face of what the Galaxy have been doing of signing younger talent that's up and coming. Alex, is this the type of signing the Galaxy needs to be making? I mean, they're doing Royce already, kind of going against the grain of what they have been doing. And then if this one comes to pass, it's, two, albeit very technically gifted and elite players. I think you said about Royce respected, but it goes against the transfer strategy. So do they need to be making this kind of signing? Would you, if you were Will Kuntz?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd make this type of signing. He's still a very good player. He's a goal scorer. That doesn't go away with age. He can still produce a lot. And we already have a lot of young players on our roster too. So it's not like if we bring in a couple of veterans, like old guys, like, oh, we're this retirement team all of a sudden. I still think we have a really good young supporting cast, and he'd come in and fit very well. But like you said, the money doesn't really add up, and he's still under contract until June 2026. And unless Barcelona buy him out, that means like the rumor was summer 2025, but I don't really know how that would happen unless he had like a really bad season, next year at Barcelona. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm not really worried about that. I'm kind of just worried about this summer window and finding ways to improve right now. But if you had the chance to bring in a guy like Lewandowski to pair him with Royce, you definitely take that chance no matter how it comes.
Well, this one is just that hot take rumor because Barcelona just brought in Hansi Flick to be their new manager, and apparently he has a very good working relationship with Robert Lewandowski, and they would be getting the band back together as well. So anything that we hear on that front, guys, we'll go ahead and let you know. But it does look like Alex said, that Lewandowski is staying at Barcelona for at least another year, at least another transfer window. So don't get your hopes up too much for that. I mean, we can't get greedy now. The Galaxy are about to land Royce apparently. So if it was Royce and Lewandowski, it would just be people would be coming out with knives, So, but guys, you're here for a mid-season review. Everybody in chat. So if you're out there, go ahead and start dropping, all the goodness on us. So what do you think, brass tacks out there in chat? What do you think the Galaxy deserves for their mid-season grade? And of course, guys, we will get to that as well here on the show. But let's look at where the team is at the midway point. Through 17 matches, they have a 7-3-7 record, 32 goals for, 25 against, 28 points, which means they're in 4th place in the Western Conference, 8th in the Supporter Shield standings. They are now 7 points back from Miami with the game in hand over Miami, and they are averaging 1.65 points per game. They have won 15 points at home, 13 points away. But however, after a strong start, the Galaxy arrived at the midpoint, having slowed down a bit. In their first 9 games of the season, they averaged 1.29 points per game. In the last 8 matches before the break, they averaged 0.75 points per game. And that is a product of their defense, guys. The opponents have scored first in 7 of 15 games, with 2 of those games being scoreless. So really, it's 7 of 13 games. However, the Galaxy has won 10 points from losing positions in 2024. Of the 10 times that the Galaxy's opponents have taken the lead, the Galaxy have managed to score an equalizer in 7 instances, translating into an equalizing rate of 70%. But whenever I bring up a stat like this, Alex, I try to look at the other side, which is if the Galaxy's opponents are scoring on them first, and yes, they are coming back and scoring equalizers, that means still that the Galaxy's opponents are scoring on them first, right? So for you, is this the biggest problem area that you see for the Galaxy, in that they concede first, or is it some other place in their game?
I mean, no, the problem is absolutely the fact that they can't win 3 games in a row. That's by far the biggest problem. But yeah, the starts definitely need to be better. At least the last 2 games, we got off to a better start. We scored in the first 5 minutes versus Dallas and Chicago, so that was good. But yeah, especially at home too, we need to get off to good starts. On the road, if we just settle in, try to grow into a game, maybe try to feel out the opponent, that's kind of fine for me because road games in MLS are kind of like that. But at home, I expect us to be coming out firing on all cylinders, really trying to get one in behind early, really putting pressure on our opponent and trying to tell them that, hey, when you come into Dignity Health Sports Park, it's not going to be an easy day for you, and that's what we need to do. And we have 2 home games coming up, right? You want that to translate to this too. You want to get off to those really good starts. You want to, put pressure on our opponent. You want to play well for a full 90 minutes. But in terms of the biggest problem, I mean, it's definitely not winning 3 games in a row for the last 4 seasons. That's just absolutely unacceptable, really.
Yeah, I think it was Ananda. I think you were telling me that every other team in the league has pulled off at least 1 3-game win streak, except for the Galaxy, and during Greg's tenure in charge of the LA Galaxy. Alex, do you think it's a mental thing at this point? I mean, keep in mind the Galaxy have gotten over mental humps already this year. I mean, they've beat SKC away. They finally beat Seattle. They've gotten over a couple ones already. But why haven't they been able to get over this 3-game hump? Is it mentals? Is it preparation? Is it something Greg's doing? Is it the pressure?
Oh, it's absolutely mental, and it falls down to the players too. Like, I think Greg is just struggling in this game, and I feel like in general he's not a manager that's, very mentally strong. And I feel like even this team under him, doesn't really respond to adversity very well. Like, this is the problem with the Galaxy for me. We're incapable of winning 3 games in a row, but when it comes to going on winless runs, we can go 7 games winless, 9 games winless, 5 games winless. So the fact that you can't win 3 games in a row, but you can go so long without winning, that's a really big problem for me. And I do think that's a big mentality part on Greg's part. And yeah, it's definitely an issue for sure. It's definitely something I want to see get fixed. But I mean, Greg's had 3.5 seasons to do this. It hasn't happened yet. Also, one that was a really big problem that we got over this year was conceding first. I remember in 2023, when we conceded the first goal, we never won a single game. Finally in Sporting Kansas City, when we, conceded the first goal, we finally came back to win. So that was one. But the 3 games in a row thing, yeah, it's still a big problem. We had a massive chance in Chicago to break that against a really bad team that was winless in 9 games. But, it just seems like after we got that opening goal, we didn't really come to play the rest of the game. And yeah, I'd say it falls down to definitely the coach, but also the players have to take responsibility themselves too.
Yeah, man, we've said on this pod, you're not going to win MLS Cup if you can't win 3 games in a row. I mean, you at least have to win 4 in a row to win the cup. And right now, the Galaxy fall tragically short. But Alex, I don't know if you knew this about me, but I'm always a bright side of the coin kind of guy. So I always try to look at the positive. Yes, the team has growing pains. They're not where they need to be. We all know this, but they are still one of the 3 teams in the league that has an unbeaten home record, which is a marketable improvement over last year. I mean, Greg, I remember in his second year coming in, he said that he wanted to make the Digs a fortress, which was kind of laughable in year 2 and year 3. This year, they're unbeaten, and the atmosphere has been a lot better. And I think that's helped the team, and that's kind of translated to them being unbeaten there. They're also one of the only teams in the West that has navigated a tough schedule and 10 away matches. So, they've also been able to get through the rough part of their schedule, which means now, guys, that with 17 remaining matches rather in the league this year, they have more home matches than they have away, 10-7, which is good because they're going to need every little bit of luck. A lot of their wins this year, 4 of them have been by a 1-goal margin, while only 3 have been by 2 goals or more. So while we know that the team can score goals, they do need every bit of luck. When you're riding a 1-goal lead and you're at home, you need that crowd behind you, because we know that they also get let down by their defense. And that's evidenced here by the Galaxy conceding at least 1 goal in 6 of their 7 home matches. So while they win at home, they also concede at home. They have, and this is one that I don't know if Alex knows, but might have you shaking your head at Gregorio Vanni again. The Galaxy has just 2 wins in 8 against teams above the playoff line. And then bad news about all this, guys, is that the Galaxy's 6 of their next 9 games are against playoff teams. So Alex, you just said they have the ability to go 5, 6, 7 matches without a win. Maybe sometimes they pull out some ties there. But 6 of these next 9 are against playoff teams, which we see that the Galaxy haven't done really, really well against. So, I mean, not some stuff to look forward to. But Ananda, you have some stats to go ahead and break down a little bit more about where the Galaxy are.
Yeah, really quick though, before I get into that, guys, can we just give a golf clap to Rob? I mean, that was like stats galore. I mean, God, this man did his research. So guys, give him some love and show us some love too. Go ahead and, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and hit that subscribe button to Inside Our Galaxy. So, hit up Alex on all the socials as well. But man,
guys,
I tried to
be you, Ananda. I started looking up some stuff, and I even learned how to read for this one. Look at me, man.
There you go. English is a second language, Rob. But anyways, you know me, my stats. See, Rob, I don't read, but I like numbers. Numbers, I can do. So let's get into the stats, guys. And this is really interesting, as I pulled up a couple things, and I heard sort of whether you guys said it directly or indirectly, this idea, and I feel it within the Galaxy fan base as well, that we've kind of been stumbling into this, I would say, this international break or this mid-season break. And it's interesting, when I pulled up the stats, like, we have definitely slumped. If you look at, so on the left side there for the audio listeners, I flashed what our goals per match and goals conceded per match were at match day 9. So this was before the dreaded Austin game, Robert, that you and I went to. Gary Scambro, there it is. Gary, that's your first one. I saw you in the chat, so that would be the first one. So shout out to you, man. But yeah, goals per match. So at match day 9, we're at 2.3. And now we are at match day 18, and that has dropped to 1.8. So that means we've only scored 1.3 goals the last 8 matches. Maybe we can talk about a little bit of why that is. Goals conceded per match. Again, this is the interest. So on the flip side, this one caught me by surprise, actually. So at match day 9 before Austin, we were at 1.7 goals conceded per match. We've actually bettered that to end up at 1.5 goals conceded per match. You guys remember we did have 2 clean sheets in the last 8 matches, but does that mean that our performances were convincing? I think, folks, Alex, I've seen your takes, and I think some other folks in the Galaxy fan base would agree. I don't think they have been as convincing, but defensively, it looks like we've gotten a little bit better, but I don't think we are there yet. Because if you look at, so I pulled up these underlying stats really quick. Some really interesting stuff. So let's look at the offensive side. Expected goals, we are in the top 3 in the league, but we've really dried up, guys. In the first 9 games, we had an expected goals of 18.2. In the last 8 games, we've only had an expected goals of 12.8. I'm going to chalk that up to a couple things. Dayon and JP being in and out of the lineup, I think is a big miss, and I think it's hurting our chance creation. It's hurting our threat in the attack. But maybe we can talk about that a little bit on this forum as well. Big chances, guys. LA Galaxy is in the top 5 at 50 big chances, but again, 33 big chances in the first 9 games, only 17 in the last 8 games. So another trend that we got to look at there. Shots on target per match. So this one was interesting. We are in the top 3 behind LAFC, but guys, just to compare, if you look at the goal conversion rate from those, this is per FBref. So Galaxy has only had a 29 shot on target per 90, so shot on target per match, 29% goal conversion. If you look at Inter Miami, the number 1 offensive team in the league, they're at a 43% goal conversion rate. So Rob, you and I, there it is. We've been talking about the lack of clinicalness, right, with this Galaxy team, and that's hurt us in a couple of these matches, and that stat kind of proves it for you. Now we'll look at the defensive end. So XG conceded, do
we have to look at the defensive end?
We unfortunately do, but there's some interesting stuff here. So if you look at on the XG side, you guys can see that we've been a horrible defensive team. But Matt Doyle in his MLS midweek review or midseason review, he talked about that the Galaxy in the first 3 games didn't allow 1.5 or more XG. In the 14 since, they've allowed at least 1.5 XG in 10 of those games. So again, we are just letting people attack us and hurt us and giving them chances, right? And a lot of that, there's a lot of different factors at play there, but that's not a good stat. And then I hate to do this, guys, but I'm going to bring something up that I know is going to pain all of us, but I want to look at clean sheets and successful tackles per match as a comparison point to a team that is above us in the standings right now and that we all love to hate, which is LAFC, right? And I want to bring this up because this is the difference of the Galaxy being where we are and LAFC, to me, being a top 2-3 team in the West, which is, look at that. They're tied for first in the league with clean sheets at 7, right? Whereas we only have 3 clean sheets this year. And then you look at on the defensive side, just, the ability to win the ball back, Rob, like, we are 25th in the league, 8.7 successful tackles per match. LAFC is number 1 in the league at 12.3. And I've talked about this, that, we've been the most dangerous on transition this year, in my opinion. And part of creating those offensive moments in transition is winning the ball back, right? Which we don't do enough. I looked at the stats earlier. Our top tackler is Gaston at 1.6 tackles per match. LAFC has two guys that average 2.5 to 3 tackles a match, Hollingshead and Tim Tillman. So again, I hate to make these comparisons, but bro, like it's the reason why they are where they are and we are where we are. Yeah, and the facts don't lie. So I know that was a lot of data to you guys, but Alex, Rob, any sort of visceral gut reactions to what you're seeing there?
I was actually going to ask Alex, which of these stats scares him the most?
Yeah, funny enough, my whole life I've always hated math. I'm always just been a vibes guy when it comes to sports. I've never really looked at numbers or stats. I'm just like, hey, how does the game go? How do I feel? What is this guy doing? Could these guys step up? I've never been a stats guy at all. So yeah, probably, I guess. Yeah, I don't really look at stats at all, but those are definitely some interesting numbers for sure. I mean, yeah, a lot of them, especially on the defensive side, do not look very good when you see us, ranked a lot lower. I can do that type of math. Like, hey, we're 25th. That's probably not very good.
No, it's not good at all. But again, I said it earlier, and we have to look at the other side of the coin in that the LA Galaxy last year gave up 67 goals. They're on pace for about 20 less than, or about 15 less than they gave up last year. So, I mean, that's improvement. Maybe it's not where they need to be, but
it's not hard. It's not very hard to prove on last year, is it, guys? And the other thing too is and Alex, you could probably agree with me on this, but I think we're still not an elite defensive team that we need to be to win MLS Cup, which is where we need to be, right? Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
Well, I'm sorry, Alex. I don't want to speak for you, but I said everybody, but go ahead and speak for yourself. I'm sorry.
I mean, you said elite defensive team. I just think in general, like right now, we're not an elite enough team, period, or complete enough period to go compete for an MLS Cup. I don't think it's just one side of the ball. I think, like, yeah, you can look at our DPs and say they have been productive, even though, like, you could say, like, some of them have slowed off at certain points. Like, for example, Painso hasn't really played a good game since, like, early April. And I know he's been out, but, like, even when he was playing the past 6 to 7 games, he was not really playing very well. But yeah, I just think overall, like when you look at the two biggest problems that I think are going to hold this team back, I think number one is coaching. Number two is depth around the whole team. And both of those definitely matter for sure. And like, the midfield too, you saw the tackles right there. It feels like sometimes we don't win the ball back quick enough, or we don't put in a hard enough tackle. Defensively, we make so many silly mistakes. Like the goals we gave up against Chicago, I mean, my God, that first goal was embarrassing, honestly. I mean, if you posted that on Bleacher Report, the league would get made fun of, and rightly so because of that. And yeah, overall, like I'd say a combination of bad coaching, so many inconsistencies defensively, and yeah, just a lack of depth. I'd say, more than defensively, those are, main biggest problems right now that we need to try to figure out going forward.
All righty. So coaching in depth, we will get to coaching a little bit more. I mean, we've kind of talked about depth with the departure of Aguirre and potentially the departure of Johnny Perez. But let's talk about some of your faves and not faves, Alex. For you, and chat, this one goes out to you as well. For you, who has been your best performer for the Galaxy this year so far?
Definitely Ricky Pooch, right? The guy that gets on the ball, the guy that makes things happen for everybody, makes everybody around him better, can create his own play, always is looking to get involved, always is into the match, always finds ways to be dangerous, can have a quiet game, but then appear at any given moment. I'd say he's definitely the guy that's our best player for sure, and the guy that, is crucial to our team, right? We go as far as he goes, and, going into the second half of the season, I think he needs to still play at a very high level, and the two DP wingers next to him also need to have a really good, showing for sure, especially Painso. He needs to play like he did early in the season.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree about Painso. I love me some JP, but in the first couple games he was electric, and you're right. In the last couple games before his injury, it just wasn't there. I mean, he missed a couple of easy chances. He had one game where he missed 2 or 3 really good chances. He did have an assist, but even I think it was a game he kind of just like walked off. And Greg, let us know afterwards that he was just super disappointed in himself. But yes, he needs to come back, just raring to go for the second half of the season. For you, most underrated player so far?
That's a really good question, honestly. You could say a couple of guys, really. Should have thought about that one a little more, but I'd say probably Julian Alde, honestly. That's a player I really like a lot. I think he's developing really well. I think he's motivated to try to take that next step. Obviously, he's on Italy's radar. He's on Argentina's radar. He's made the debut for their youth national team. So I think he's a player that's motivated, that's playing really well. He's been playing good these last couple of games. I think he's a guy that I'm, kind of sneaky is like under the radar too. You could also say his co-partner as a fullback, Yamane, but I think, we're giving him a lot more praise now. We're recognizing how good he is. Delgado's a good candidate. There's a lot of good candidates on this team. Jovic with the season he's had, which we didn't expect. But, I'll say Alde. He's a player that I've been high on, and I think he's doing a really good job at the moment.
I'm about that. I definitely remember at the CVI, Julian letting me know that he had been speaking to Greg a lot about what he needed to do. And one of the things he said a couple times to me was consistency on both sides of the ball. And I think we see that he's been a great defensive performer and also been getting massively involved in the attack and getting a lot on the ball as well. I agree with you. How
Is that your pick, Rob?
Oh yeah.
Julian Alde?
Yeah. What about for you? What about for you?
No, I wanted to give some love to Mark Delgado, man. I think he's been probably the most consistent performer this year, other than Ricky. I mean, in terms of what he's being asked to do on that pitch, right? Like he started the season off amazing. I mean, he was putting in his assist contributions, putting in his goal contributions. He's kind of tailed off a little bit, but as you've rightly pointed out to me, I think he's regressing back to the mean versus dropping off. I think that's where he needs to be. But I think he's the best two-way player on this team, and I think he's going to be a really, really interesting and integral part of sort of what that midfield does and what we do for the rest of the season. And he doesn't get enough love. So, I mean, man, do you guys remember that wicked through ball that he threw to Gabriel Peck for the first FC Dallas goal? I mean, or the goal against FC Dallas. I mean, that's Mark Delgado all day, and that's what he's capable of. Like I said, I think he's the best two-way player on this team.
All right, guys, for this next one, we're all going to say it at the same time, okay? Because I don't want anybody cheating. So,
got it.
The question is the player who needs to step up the most and completely turn around their season after a poor first half of the season. We'll all say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Miguel Berry.
McCarthy.
I said, oh, there we go. Oh, Rob, 3 different answers. Okay.
Well, I said Miguel Berry, and I'll tell you why. I think the mentality is there. I think the raw talent is there. A little bit unlucky, and also he's been asked to do things that he shouldn't be doing, which is leading the line. He is a backup striker. When you employ him as a backup striker for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes of a game, he can bring you something. When you're asking him to score and lead the line, that's not his game. But however, one goal in the matches that he has, not good enough, even if he is a backup striker. So I think he needs to step up for the second part of the season. Alex, who did you pick? I didn't even hear who you said.
He said McCarthy.
I said John McCarthy. I saw someone say Painso in the chat, and I was going to pick that, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he started off the season super well and then picked up an injury. He played like a long season in Europe with the national team, so I'm going to cut Painso a little bit of a break. Yeah, I'm going to say McCarthy. Like his distribution definitely needs to get a lot better out the back. I think that's the main thing for sure. We brought him in as this veteran keeper. He's a champion with, unfortunately, LAFC, but yeah, he won that. So I expect him to bring a lot of leadership, a lot of experience to us, but I don't know, like he started off the season like all right, but then the last couple of weeks he's been pretty poor. Obviously, the highlight was the mistake versus Houston that luckily it didn't cost us any points, but it very well could have. And even just these last couple of weeks, I feel like he's not played very well. He's been in and out from Mikovic a little bit. I just feel like for our defense to be more solid and to really cut those goals in half, McCarthy has to play at, a good level again for a good MLS keeper. And I know he's capable of playing that because I've seen him do it before in big moments too.
It's interesting that he said that, Rob, because remember, ABT, first of all, always be throwing, right? Like he needs to throw the ball more than he kicks it. But I think it's interesting because statistically, shot stopping wise, he's been a good shot stopper this season, but that also kind of shows how, again, we've talked about the XGC conceded. We've talked about how many shots on goal we concede per match. So, I mean, of course, that's going to bump up his save numbers, right? But he has made some big saves. But it's interesting, and I go back to a point that Judge Sophie, so shout out Sophie Nicolau, wherever you are, she's always said that the style of keeper does not fit Greg Vanney's sort of possession-based, like getting out of the back, the way that we play, and he's completely the opposite to that. So that's a weird one for me, personnel-wise. So, and I'm interested to see what Mitrovic's distribution is like, because we like to break presses out of the back. I mean, Vanney's always talked about breaking like the first two lines of press so that we can get on the front foot in the attack, right? So that one's an interesting, and I'm glad you brought that one up, Alex. So I think that was an interesting one. But yeah, man, I was gonna pick Paintsel too, but I actually picked the other guy, Peck, and he has had 8 goal contributions this year, Rob. But just because I look at the expectation with that DP level tag, I think he still has a lot in his locker that he hasn't shown us yet. He's been a little inconsistent in certain games. He's kind of, we have performances like we have at home. Can't remember the exact game, but I think it was the one that he scored the goal, and he was amazing that match. I want to say it was the 1-0 against Seattle, that ugly match at home. But then you have other performances where he kind of goes away. And so I want to see him step up in the second half season, because I think, again, as a DP player, we're going to have to rely on him a lot. And I think he has it in his locker. He just needs to show it.
Well, guys, we looked at individual performances. Now let's look at the collective here. Alex, for you, what was the most impressive or most complete win in the Galaxy season so far?
Yeah, that's a great question, honestly. I would say it's the game in Vancouver. Vancouver started off the season very well. We've always had a difficult time in Cascadia playing on their turf in BC Place. It's a team that's given us a lot of trouble. I think we had like a 4-game losing streak versus them. And to come in, really set the tone in their place, keep the ball a lot, move them around. Then some of the goals we scored too, you saw a lot of goals from DPs. Like you had Joveljic scoring, you had Paintsel scoring, you had Fagundes off the bench, you had Ricky making great passes. Yeah, the defense being solid. I think the Vancouver game was just such a good performance. It was a very impressive win. And yeah, I think it's by far our best performance of the year, if I had to say.
I agree.
Ananda, yeah,
I agree.
Same.
Yeah. I'm going to rest my case there. Yeah, I totally agree with all the points that Alex raised.
I'm going to actually say maybe it was because I was there and I saw how devastating they were and how they took the life out of an entire stadium. But that San Jose match when they won 3-1, I think it was the third game of the season. Yeah, I mean, like I said, they were devastating on the attack, and they killed any. Keep in mind, this was San Jose's 50th anniversary celebration, like their first home match of the season. Yeah. I mean, they were pumped, and the Galaxy came out and killed that shit. They were just like, nah, no party today, son. And that's why it was so impressive, because they totally took over proceedings. I've said it a bunch of times on this very pod today. I'm looking at the flip side now. What about the worst defeat? Ananda, we'll go to you this time first.
Oh, man, this one's easy for us, Rob, because we were there. It's got to be that 2-0 at Austin. It's got to be that 2-0 in Austin. And it's funny, statistically, too, that's when things change, right? We were flying high going to that game. We thought it was going to be somewhat of an easy win. Remember, Austin was not doing well at that time going into that game, and we dropped an absolute stinker, man, from minute 0 to minute 90. It was awful being there. Like I think that's the quiet I've seen like away fans in a while. I mean, we were rowdy in the beginning and they just got quiet real quick because they gave us nothing, literally nothing to cheer off of. I remember doing the post match reaction with Shout Out We Are Austin TV, those guys there, Hernan and those guys, and I was not happy, but I shout out to them. I had to show them love, so I had to do it. But it was not a good performance. I think that's the worst one for me because we were both there, man.
What about for you, Alex?
Yeah, funny enough, I was also at the 3-1 San Jose win. Definitely a close second place, a very good performance for sure. But in terms of my worst performance, I have to disagree, to a pretty heavy extent. It's got to be that most recent Chicago game. Going into there's like, not really any people there. Chicago was on a 9-game winless run. They were so down. And I think to make it even worse, we got the first goal. You really felt confident, like, okay, you finally had the hope. This is time to get 3 wins in a row. And then, to make it even worse, if it wasn't already bad enough, the goals we gave up, you almost just gifted them the game. it's one thing if Chicago played really well and, they deserve to win, they created some great goals. But when you see the goals we gave up, we really just gifted it to them, like giving them an easy tap-in when we missed the ball 2 times in one play, or when Cerrillo passed the ball straight to a Chicago player, had a shot from distance. I mean, yeah, you could say the Austin game was bad and we didn't play well, but at least Austin's like this season a respectable team. They have a good atmosphere. Maybe the Galaxy just weren't used to the start time. They didn't come out with enough energy, but the Chicago game was inexcusable and against a much worse opponent. I felt so much worse about that one.
Yeah, and I got to agree with you, Alex. It was, yes, Ananda, we were there in Austin, but I mean, we still had a good time in Austin. I found nothing enjoyable about the Chicago game. I mean, we weren't there, but there was
thankfully.
Yeah, no, thankfully, exactly, right? Like, can you imagine going all the way there, being like, yeah, Greg's finally going to get us 3 games, and then they turn in that kind of performance. And then not only that, but the weather was bad. I mean, it was just, man, just not good times at all. You're right. Both goals were soft, just mistakes, shot themselves in the foot, this team, and you thought they were going to get that 3rd game finally, and it didn't happen. And against a team that was going nowhere. And Alex is right. There was no one in that house to pump that team up. But then when they grew into the match, they definitely made themselves heard, and the Galaxy were cowed. They, on many occasions this year, have picked their head up, been resilient, and said, no, we're going to find this game. They didn't do it against Chicago, and it's worrying because Chicago doesn't have that much of a team that should be putting up a fight for them. But Alex, you've already answered my next question, which was going to be biggest area of improvement. With you answered with the coaching and the depth. But Ananda, we didn't get. What about for you? Your biggest area of improvement for this team? And you can't take the cop out and say defense. Blanket term defense.
I mean, the stats prove it, though. I mean, it is defense. So let me be a little more specific. So I think defensively, like cutting out individual mistakes, like just mistakes in general, I think a lot of those are avoidable. Like Alex said, he used the word inexcusable, right? You think about McCarthy's own goal for that one. I can't remember the exact game. It might have been St. Louis or SKC. I can't remember. You think about Maya's whiff. You think about Edwin Cedillo just completely gifting the opposition the goal. I mean, there's so many individual moments, man, and I think a lot of that. I think because I was gonna say transition defense, but I think more so it's just mistakes. Because mistakes, what that does to you, especially in games when you're playing well, you're on the front foot, you maybe are not converting chances. Mistakes just demoralize and destabilize the team, and we've got to cut that out of our game and stop shooting ourselves in the foot.
If we had money for every time the Galaxy shot themselves in the foot and got a goal scored on them from one of their own mistakes, you and I, there
you go, gotcha.
Would not have to work day jobs, and that'd be wonderful. Alex, if you had to answer this question right now, someone was putting you on the spot, and they asked you, where in the table do the LA Galaxy end up at the end of the year? What would you answer?
Probably 6th place, I'd say. Probably 6th. Like, I don't know. I still think this team has too many inconsistencies. They're still going to play a strong schedule. They play some tough opponents. I don't know, like, the defense, I'm still worried about that. Is Payne still going to get back on form? Is Jovic eventually going to fall off? Are we going to get injured? We had, like, 10 injuries last year and 5 season-ending ones, so that can always be a problem. I don't know. I think some teams might pick it up. Like, you always got the Cascadia teams that can be good. Some of the Texas teams, are playing well. I mean, I don't know. Is our home form going to hold up? That has to be wait and see. I have so many questions about this team. But I think, quality-wise with Ricky Pooch and the DPs and Jovic having a bounce-back season so far, I think playoffs are still in play. It's still like a good possibility it could happen. Obviously, if we miss the playoffs, that would be a massive disappointment. But yeah, ultimately, got to take care of the home games for sure. Try to, get something on the road. More importantly, finally get those 3 games in a row. That will do a lot for this team. But yeah, I'd say just right now, I'd say maybe 6th place. Hopefully, a home game in the first round would be really good. But I don't know. Like, if we finish top 3 in the West, honestly, I'd be very surprised. And in preseason, I picked us to finish 8th place. So even then, if I'm saying 6th, it's still, a pretty okay improvement, you could say.
Considering this team did not make the playoffs last year, yes, is an improvement. Ananda, do you agree? 6th place. Keep in mind, Chat, keep in mind, guys, top 4 gets a home playoff match in the first round of the playoffs there.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this stat out to you guys to noodle on because I wanted to research this because I thought it was interesting. So, guys, last year, the top 4 was at 51 points. Actually, Real Salt Lake, who was in 5th, was at 50 points. We've got 28. So then the question is, are you asking me, Rob, are we gonna get at least 22 points in the next? Granted, we have more home games. The opposition is going to be a little tougher, but I don't see a reason not getting at least 22 points in the next 17. I mean, remember, we started off the season with 28. So if I look at it from a math perspective, and then the other thing I want to throw in there, guys, is the West is kind of like a shootout. I mean, teams are nicking points off of each other, and there's no clear, I think Real Salt Lake and LAFC are probably 1A and 1B, but there's not really much of a separation in the West as there is in the East. So with all those factors combined, I think we will we'll make top 4. I think we'll get 4th place, probably just and get a home game in the first round. But again, you know me in math. So I looked at it mathematically. I'm like, I don't see a reason we don't get at least 22 points. I think this team has too much quality not to at least get 22.
Well, 22 points out of the available 51 points that are up for grabs. That's, about a third of the points that are available. I don't see it being out of the realm of possibility, especially with them being at home more than they are away. But Alex brought up a good point. Can they sustain the home schedule? Will we see Joseph Painsto come back fit and ready to go? Will we see Ricky Pooch hooking up with his DP level wingers on the side? Will we see Dejan Jovic carry on that good form? Who knows? A lot of intangibles, right? You did flash a schedule here of upcoming fixtures. I did want to call out some fixtures of note that are going to be important for the Galaxy season coming up. June 22nd, they are away to RSL. That'll be another important match. Of course, the first match between those teams was at the Digs. That was a 2-2. Galaxy come from behind and get the draw. On July 4th, of course, the Rose Bowl El Tráfico Part 2. That'll be happening while the country is celebrating and lighting off fireworks, and hopefully they're celebrating another Galaxy victory. On the 17th of July, the Galaxy are home against Colorado. Colorado has started the season well. It'll be great to see them test themselves against a team that was probably as bad off as the Galaxy was last year. September 14th, the last El Tráfico of the regular season happens at the Digs. The last game of the Galaxy season is October 19th, Houston away. Of course, Alex mentioned the Cascadia teams usually do really well in the second half of the season. The Texas teams are playing decent soccer. But is there any one match you're looking forward to more than any other, Alex?
No, honestly, I just want to win, just straight up. I look at the next game really and how we can get 3 points from that. I'm not worried about our schedule. I just want to get the maximum amount of points from each game for sure.
All 3 are busts every week. Let's do it. I love
absolutely
that. I love that attitude. I love it. All right, guys. Well, we've come to the part of the show where we grade this Galaxy team based on everything we know, all the stats we've thrown, based on their potential, based on what we know about them last year. We're taking all that into consideration, and we're giving the Galaxy a grade. MLS gave them a C for the season so far. Basically, that boiled down to great team composition for the year, but the defense is the big Achilles heel. Ananda, I know we had some folk in the chat that were putting up some grades. We have Gary Cambrone with giving the team a B. We have Christopher Pineda giving the team a B minus. And then we have actually I can't see the name on that one.
Jose Luis Perez.
Jose Luis Perez Jr. with the B minus. I don't know why the square is blocking. Raul G says a B minus. We have a lot of B's. Okay. I'm seeing the trend. Again, keep in mind MLS gave this team a C. So, Alex, we've heard a lot of facts, a lot of figures, but ultimately, you told us that you're the kind of guy that looks at the team and see how they're playing. You're like me. You're an eye test kind of guy. What are you giving this team for a mid-season grade?
Yeah, I'm right on with B. Honestly, I think we're in the mix right now. We're only 5 points off first place, but on the other end, we're only 8 points off the final wildcard spot. So you could say it's all to play for, right? We pick it up a little bit at home. Our DPs are back. We're healthy. We start playing better. We can compete for a top spot. But if we also go one of our long winless runs, we could find ourselves going down the table. So I think B is fair. It means you're kind of in the mix, but more on the positive side because you are, I think, still like 4th place in the West, if I'm correct. So yeah, I would say we're in the mix right now. We have potential. Will Kuntz has done an outstanding job, not only with the LA Galaxy, but also with the LA Galaxy 2, the academy. He's done a very good job, bringing in players. I think Greg needs to step up for sure, try to maximize the talent on this roster, because I do feel like, yes, we're in a decent position right now. I feel like we could have a lot more points, and I think a lot of people would agree. So I think a solid B is fair. I think a C is a little bit too harsh, what MLS gave relative to our expectations, but saying, I'd probably give an A- if we got a few more wins instead of some of those draws that we got. But yeah, I'd say right now a B is, respectable, more than fair at the moment.
¿Y tú, Anandita Kirana? ¿Qué piensas?
Yeah,
Give that grade, man.
Yeah, estoy con el B también, papá. But you know what? Because of that Chicago loss, and Alex and Rob, I hate that you guys reminded me of that loss, because now I'm going to drop it down to a minus. And it's one of those things that concerns me moving forward, which is, Rob, we always talk about trap games, right? And so, granted, there are some other factors in place, scheduling, being on the road, et cetera, whatever. But it's those games that you have to win. And again, I go back to a word that Alex was using earlier. It's inexcusable, right? So if that becomes a little bit more of a trend than I'd like to see, I'm going to be a little bit worried. And, I think I'm just being petty maybe, but I'm just dropping it down from a B to a B-. But I think, again, there's a lot of factors here in the second half of the season, the health and the status of our DPs and our players in general. And then, of course, how do we deal with Leagues Cup when that comes around? And then just all the deficiencies that we talked about on the show. But I think so far I expected this team, Robert. Remember, if you remember when we did the preseason review, I said that this team on paper is a top 4 team in the West. That's where they are now. So I can't give them anything lower than a B-.
I want to be contrarian. Be contrarian, man. I gotta agree with MLS, but I'm not gonna give them the C. I'm gonna give them the C+, because where they have fallen flat is places where we knew they were flat already, or where they needed help already, and they haven't been up to snuff. We knew that the defense needed help. Defense is still struggling. We knew that the transition defense isn't great, still struggling. Set pieces have not gotten any better. The losses have come against teams that they had no business losing to at the time. The only one, with the exception of being LAFC, who wasn't great to start the season, but still, El Tráfico, anything can happen. But against Austin, against Chicago, what did you say Alex was using? Inexcusable? Yes. Inexcusable. Yeah. Inexcusable. So I wouldn't have had a problem with you going to SKC, putting up a fight and losing. You didn't do that. You did much better. You came back from behind and won. However, you went to Chicago and you dropped the stinker and you lost against one of the worst teams in the league. So where they fall flat, they should not be falling flat, because we already know what their deficiencies are. They should be working on them. But again, I that's just me. I'm contrarian. C+. I know they have improvement in them, and I hope that they bring it about. Your mate Erick, Alex at InsideOurGalaxy podcast says B-, but barely. We're in a good spot, but this team can get a lot better. Got to see who we bring in, and if this team can step up to another level. Still optimistic about this team. I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm optimistic, but I also know who this team is. I said it last pod. The Bears are who we thought they were, and that's where they took the damn field. So that's what it is, y'all. I'm calling a C+. Alex is calling a B. Ananda's calling a B. A lot of you guys out there are calling a B. Let's hope that by the end of the year, we're calling the Galaxy having an A. What's coming up? What's on the calendar next, guys? The Galaxy is back at home. They'll be celebrating Pride. They'll be celebrating Juneteenth. They'll be celebrating Father's Day, but they'll be hosting SKC. And if it is Father's Day, hopefully they will become SKC's daddy that day on Saturday, June 15th at 7:30 p.m. This last match, we've already spoken about it on this pod. A very impressive come from behind 3-2 win on the road at SKC. After a bad start, they came out and blitzed SKC in the second half and took that game, all 3 points. Of course, we'll have a game preview for you on Thursday, June 13th at 9 p.m. After that match, we'll bring you a live match reaction on Monday, June 17th at 9 p.m. Alex, we're about to get on out of here. But before we do, please remind the folks where they can find you and the pod.
LA Galaxy Central on Instagram, InsideOurGalaxy on YouTube.
Hey, simple. Y'all go ahead and give those lads a subscribe. Shout out to Erick. Hopefully we get you on next time, man. We did miss you. Hearts out there for you. Us and the Italian Stallion wish you a big hearty hello. And next time we're looking for you out here, man. Ven, papa, ven. Ananda, anything to add before we get on out of here?
Well, I always give last word to chat, but chat, you guys were on fire today. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Alex, for joining us as well. It was a great conversation, man. And let's do this again soon. And let's get Erick on as well, just like Rob was saying. But thanks again, chat. We love you and you guys were on fire today. So thanks for joining us. And don't forget to join us on Thursday where we do the match preview for a big match that we need to win. We need the 3 points, just like Alex said.
Yeah, y'all. Come back and see Ananda. You and I will be here. You and I. Yeah. You and I will be here for sure on Thursday. Alex, thank you so much for hanging with us. We appreciate it. Thank you for letting us be the first pod you collaborate with. We consider it a huge honor. And hopefully we can link up again soon. Really quick prediction for SKC. Do the Galaxy get a dub?
Hey, man, I'm from Europe. I don't make predictions here. Never do that.
Okay. No predictions. No predictions. Do you have a good feeling about this match?
I have a good feeling the Galaxy are going to come out very angry from that Chicago game. They're going to get some players back. They're going to be in front of the home crowd. They should be motivated to play. Kansas City got a win last game, which was was kind of good for us actually, because we don't have the pressure of continuing their winless streak. So I think, we're going to have a bit of a wake-up call from them winning last game. And yeah, ultimately, I expect to see the Galaxy get 3 points, go out there, compete, make the fans proud, get back on the winning column. And yeah, we can just hope for the best, like me and Erick always say.
Hey, I love it. Let's just hope for the best. Let's hope for a Galaxy victory. And Ananda, I think that's it from us, man. Guys, we'll see you on Thursday. Thanks so much for hanging with us. Me, Ananda, and Alex. We loved hanging out with you as usual. Go ahead and catch Alex and Erick on their pod. And man, it's been a blast as usual. I can't believe we ever decided to do something foolish like take a day off. We missed y'all. But we'll be back. We'll see you soon on Thursday. One thing left to say. G